Good afternoon. I am running a little behind schedule, I'm a lot behind schedule because I've been out sick for days, for weeks. I got COVID and I got it pretty good. And I thought, well, the promise is you get COVID, you build immunity. And I think that might be true, but I have a low, rather fussy immune system and it really got me. So, and I did a lot of things to naturally deal with it, which one is magnesium and vitamin D, 50,000 units of vitamin D and magnesium a couple of times a day makes a huge difference. But I did get the walking pneumonia and I had a heck of a time. Okay, so my screen is going to flash around and I do apologize, but I'm going to get into show all windows and I'm going to share the tarot reading. Now I'm using the Black Tarot and I have 4 cards here in Hawaiian style for the number 4 and for what is precious and meaningful here on the islands. And then it starts out, I'm going to go ahead and turn my ringer off because it'll just carry on and I don't care for it. I have a 10 of Spears. This is a past, present, and future with a foundation card over the top, which is a 6 of Spears. And keep in mind that a 6 of Spears is the same thing as, well, it's a 6, and it's going to be the lovers, it's going to be the devil, it's going to be codependency, it's going to be lots of things. Okay, so what are we talking about here? Well, I'm having a little bit of trouble with the concept that Monsanto isn't really heavily involved in what's happening to us at this time. We have a food shortage. We have an overwhelming need to get these vaccines that may or may not be effective. I don't really have enough information. I'm not a scientist and I'm not going to claim I know anything because I do not. But I'm troubled because a number of people are sick, including myself, and I'm having, when I get COVID, I'm finding myself having a very difficult time physically coping with it, feeling like I'm being bombarded with bugs and I mean, just all kinds of things, things that you would think of as being drug addicted, even, that it's just been bizarre. And of course, I've slept a good deal and I'm now, as of now, I'm starting to kind of question what does some of these bigger pharmaceutical food / agricultural seed producing saving companies really have in mind for us? We don't know, but I'm uncomfortable. I can just tell you that. And getting a foundation card that is a 6 of Spears, which is going to be a 6 of Earth, is telling. It says that what they're overall kind of working towards is something that has to do with the family. Now, what would that be? I don't know. Is it that they want to control the family? I would suspect that might be part of it, yes. And how are they controlling us? Well, they're controlling us through toxic treatments, through pharmaceuticals that, quite frankly, don't work. And I'm on a pharmaceutical right now that for cancer that causes cancer. So I just let that sink in and I don't have a choice. If I don't use this medication, I die. Pretty simple, because my heart will stop and my heart would be surrounded by fluids and it would just come to a stop. So I don't have a choice. And so it's like dancing with the devil. I don't know. And so how does this start out? Well, in the past, it's saying that we overwhelmingly have given to Monsanto and Bayer, who is the owner, which is a German company. We've overwhelmingly given to them any and all research information, money, services, our pocketbooks, any and all things we've handed over to them. Now, I find it ironic that it's a German company because, one, a German company, they don't even allow supposedly the glycophosphate, they don't allow it to be sprayed in Germany. Now, I don't know, how true that really is because there are some conflicting statements, but openly and overtly, they don't allow it. So, which, rightfully so, it's very dangerous. It's very toxic. It's very Pluto. So what do we have going on here? Well, let's just go ahead and do the card reading and we'll get into where Pluto sits in this messy mess that we find ourselves in with Monsanto and Bayer. What might they be doing to us? Well, I hate to be conspiratorial. I just do. But really, quite frankly, I'm tired of being sick. I'm tired of being stupid. I don't know what it is that's going on. And I have a sense that even if we were really brought to it, we wouldn't understand it because it's not our nature. It's not who we are. It's who Monsanto is. It's who Bayer is. It's the, shall I say, lawlessness, the duplicitousness of this company. It's profound. And why do I say that? Well, this is a company that is a pharmaceutical company. It is an agricultural company. It is a food producing company. It is a company that is a biosciences company, research and development for pharmaceuticals. It is an educational research and development process that goes into teaching our doctors, who then tell us what's best for our bodies, who we rely upon to provide that information. Now, I'm having a lot of trouble with all this because I don't believe a word of it anymore. I just don't. I think I don't want to be negative, Nelly, but I'm sorry, they don't tell us the truth about much of anything, if anything at all. If they do tell us the truth, it's skewed towards getting us to buy things that are just really not good for us. So then we get this Four of Swords, where it's saying that kind of right now our bodies are on fire. Our heads hurt from the fevers we get from this garbage. We feel trapped. We are trapped, and we've been in a state of sleeping, because if you look at this or meditation, you can see that this person looks like they have ether or air moving up off their body, speaking to our environment, which in fact that's what we do. We're reflective of our environment, and this company, Monsanto, is reflective of us as people. And what's happening? Well, I don't really know exactly how I would describe what I'm feeling, but if you notice the two hands, like we're functioning as one together, and you notice that the right hand's got a slash through it, like a sword or something cutting it off, a division in it. And then you'll notice that one hand is white and the other one is kind of like a reverse image of that one, which would suggest that reflective process we're in, that light and that dark within the family, and how we're divided. And that division is like a toxic bit of gears moving around in our souls. And you can see that I've got it laid on its side, and it's in the form of a big gear and then smaller gears off to the sides, which is suggesting that as these gears turn, we get slashed and cut. And one of my concerns is as this batch of COVID, now I've had COVID, I had it in 2019 and I got pneumonia pretty darn bad, but I also have cancer. So my expectations are that I'm going to get this when it comes around, when I'm exposed to it, and it's going to be kind of difficult for me to get through it, and it's even frightening. But each time I'm thinking, okay, my immunity is a little bit better, but that's not exactly true. It's more like each time my immunity has to be different in order to survive it, each and every time. Now this time the pneumonia wasn't nearly as bad. The first time I got it, I got double pneumonia, and it just ravaged me. I had the fever, I had the delirium, I had everything, the headache. This time I had the fever, I had the headache, I had the delirium, and I had the pneumonia, but in a lot lesser categories, I guess, if you will. Part of it was that I do think I have immunity. I think my immune system is poor in some ways due to cancer. So I can't really speak for sure on how this might affect someone else. I can't have the vaccine because my immune system isn't strong enough to handle it. My doctor doesn't feel that I would do well. So I'm not a candidate for the actual vaccine. So you can see that resting is in order, and I am going to go ahead and nope, I'm not going to do it. Okay, so anyway, you can see that basically we're kind of in a state of meditation. And where is this going? It's going into a Knight of Wands, where that is reversed in the future. It's where action is going to get taken, but it's not going to be what we think. It's going to be less than what we think. And I have to answer this. Hello. Well, I'm trying to record a podcast. I called them yes. Just a moment, Mike. Okay, as I said, I was going to try to finish out at least the Monsanto piece of the puzzle. And the reason I'm having such a difficult time with this is because I'm finding myself kind of mad about what I'm seeing when I read this chart. It's a company owned by Bayer. They are paying huge amounts of money for settlements for people who have cancer. And you might ask yourself, and I have asked myself this question, why would Bayer buy Monsanto? Because it would seem like you were buying a racehorse that no longer can race, that had a broken leg, because obviously Monsanto is a company that is, in my opinion, not a principled company. Now, that's my opinion. Other people would argue with me that they provide food throughout the world and that they're the good guys. Well, but they don't have my stomach. I have had issues with my health for as long as I can remember. And in particular, I have issues with my stomach. Well, I have my MC is in Virgo, and I have Pluto Venus right there with my North Node in the 9th house, all just kind of coming together and saying that, yeah, there's some energy here to be discussed. And I've had throughout my life issues with pregnancy, vomiting, getting sick. If any kind of drama went on at all in my life, I ended up, I'm going to just turn this camera off so that it's not sitting there flashing at you. Let's see, blur my background. Yeah, that's not it. Choose a video. Let's see. Edit. Okay, there we go. Well, nope, that didn't do it. Edit profile picture. Okay, change picture. We're gonna, nope, that isn't gonna do it either. Well, okay, I'm just gonna not worry about it. So what I am saying in all kinds of ways is that for me, I'm having some issues with my health. And I, even as a teenager, was demonstrating problems with things like shampoos. I'm going to see if I can turn this camera off. Let's see. I don't know why. There we go. Okay, so I'm just not going to bother being, I'm not going to bother showing that to you. You really don't need to see it. It's more important that you see the chart. This is a hand rendered chart. And what got me into doing medical astrology is that there's so many indications in my chart that are medical in nature. Now, I've been a reader, I've said this before, my whole life, and I have a lot of 8th house energy, which makes me quite stable and capable of seeing. And where is largely my energy? It's in the 8th house in a stellium, which kind of just adds to the weight of how I see life, is from the other side of the veil. And part of my concern is there's a lot of things I want to discuss. There's a lot of areas I'd like to cover. I don't want to do them in ways that are like rants. And unfortunately, with this Monsanto chart, I've had a hard time not providing a reading that was more of a rant, because I feel that they have come into our lives, our family lives, and they produce products, genetically modified foods, genetically modified seeds, genetically modified this and that. The bees are dying. Okay. There are many issues around health regarding Monsanto. And so it's difficult for me not to go into a rant when I think of Monsanto. And we think of Monsanto, it's owned by Bayer, and we think of it as being this caring company that makes this tree bark analgesic that is so wonderful, this natural herbal remedy that helps us with pain. But don't be fooled. It is a company owned by Germany, a German man, and it is a company that, even though Monsanto appeared to be a purchase by Bayer, I think that that was just a way to limit their losses. Bayer didn't buy this out of the goodness of their heart. Bayer owned it, and Bayer now is doing what they can to deal with what could be their losses. And of course, this is all going into the Supreme Court, which I do not expect that the Supreme Court will in any way be favorable towards the people like myself who have cancer. Now, why do I feel irritated with Monsanto? Well, this chart, it very much is 6 hours west, okay? It's about how they've treated us, the people and the family. It's how they've treated the earth and the environment. It's kind of the unfortunate way they go about dealing with what is a pharmaceutical, agricultural, what they call natural medicine process that's done in a lab that's not natural at all. In fact, I think of Monsanto as Frankenstein. Okay, I think it is the modern day version of what I think Frankenstein would look like. And what are they trying to do to us? Well, I don't really know what they're trying to do to us, but I know that with food being in a way put into a position where a food supply, like we went to Costco. I live in Hawaii, went to Costco Tuesday. My husband went in. I didn't go in because I'm still recovering from COVID. And when he went in, Costco had very, very low produce, very low. And we've been finding it more and more difficult to get foods there that are not genetically modified or in some way not healthy for us. I can't have gluten. I can't have genetically modified. I have spots on my pancreas. Why am I so sick? This is my question. What is it? It's my thyroid. Well, we're not supposed to speak, right? We're supposed to keep our voices quiet. We're supposed to clam that thing up. Or I'm a woman, right? I have a vagina. I shouldn't talk. I shouldn't say things that are going to in any way empower myself, because I have an obligation to be soft and feminine and receptive and willing and able to take the chaos that's being delivered to my body via public message. And what is all this chaos that we're going through? Well, we have now got a virus, as above, so below, as within, so without. We are a reflection of the world that we live in at this time. And I can't help but feel that this energy that's being revealed in the last eclipse, and we're still clicking through it, and will be till November, where we're going to start a new eclipse season, which is going to be just the opposite. Instead of being Taurus Scorpio, it's going to be Scorpio Taurus. So this scorpionic quincunx truth-finding energy shall continue up to and including companies like Monsanto / Bayer, who are paying out billions supposedly in settlements to the people who they've injured through this genetically, well, like glycophosphate. Okay, so that's what they say causes it. But I think anytime that you modify seeds, you're asking to be modifying in your body. You're asking to modify your DNA. And I can tell you that I was sick enough by the time I was 18, when I got pregnant, that I required a level of medical care, something like 27 hospital visits, for the level of issues I was having, primarily with my stomach, which eventually led me to having a cardiac arrest at age 18. So it's no joke. And I no longer trust the established medical system. I don't participate in it now. I'm going to go get an ultrasound. I didn't get my ultrasound today too many things just went wrong, and my doctor actually wants me to go someplace else. And which, not because she had any problem with where I was going, but because she put the orders in another location. So that being the deciding factor, I am now going someplace else closer to home, and thank God, because I would just prefer to not have to be going back and forth too much. So this chart is saying in every way, it has nothing in Earth. It's got no energy whatsoever in Earth. Now, what does that cause? Well, with zero Earth in its modalities, okay, in its elements, what would we be expecting? Well, I'd say that Monsanto is a company that doesn't care at all how it goes about using resources of the Earth, 9 points in fire. Very, very clever about how it extracts and uses the resources of the Earth. Is 2 points in water, somewhat intuitive, and 3 points in air is dirtying up our environment, our air, and our way of life. And so they're dangerous to us. As you can see, that's how I listed them as a gender, is dangerous. And in addition to that, you can see that I have a different chart. I've got two chains of dispositors. One is the USA chart, the other one is the Monsanto chart. You'll notice that the Pluto 6th house Capricorn, that is a transit, and it also is the location of Pluto from the USA chart, which we've recently had a USA Pluto return. So Scorpio, Pluto and Taurus is all factoring really large in all the readings. And what are those things? That's going to be, Taurus is going to be money, house, home, inflation, how we're living day to day. And Scorpio is going to be the deep truth, the deep pockets, medical places coming from from afar. And you can see that that Monsanto has Scorpio in the 5th house. So we're going to focus a little bit on this, because for the next, well, we're going through the eclipse right now, and the energy is still unlocking. And about the time that this unlocks, it all starts over again. And like I said, instead of it being Scorpio Taurus, it's going to be Taurus Scorpio. And so in the USA chart, it's going to be in the 5th house and in the 11th house, in the house of the 5th house of drama, kind of how we develop as teenagers. So, it's going to be kind of sporty and a little bit uncomfortable. And then it's going to be how it impacts us in groups financially, where that might be going over time. And it's going to have that Uranian feel where it's going to be shocking, unsettling, upsetting. It could even be somewhat earthquake-ish. And I'm hearing some astrologers starting to predict earthquakes. Now, I'm kind of staying away from prediction, because, we have earthquakes. And if I tell you we're going to have an earthquake, is that really very predictive, or is it just maybe common sense? And I would suggest it's probably more common sense. So I'm just not going to get into it. Like the professor that I took astrology from said, you say anything like there's going to be a volcano that's going to blow, or it's going to be a big earthquake, or you're going to have a huge flood or a tidal wave. Eventually, really, the truth is that is going to be true. But will it be true because you said it? That's the issue. Now, and none of us honestly really know for sure. What we do know is we have crisis incoming. And with these Scorpio Taurus eclipses, it does have all the earmarks of earthquake, ground movement, financial ruin, people being dug out of what they're comfortable in, and being forced to look at what is needing to happen for their well-being, for their future. So that's kind of the direction. And so again, you can expect this is going to continue. This was a Taurus Scorpio. Now it's going to be a Scorpio Taurus eclipse. And so it'll be just the opposite. So I'm really expecting to start to hear where money is going, how money is going, why money isn't trickling into our pockets, where is our groceries, what that we need when we go to the store. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, But even at best, if you go to the grocery store and all that you have available are foods that are not healthy for you, are you really able to get what you need? And the answer to that is no, that we need an environment that looks at the way we feed our bodies as opposed to how we take pills and are prescribed things to take care of our bodies, because the one is clearly failing. You cannot get a COVID vaccine right now and not expect to get COVID. You still need to wear your mask. You still need to be very cautious. And if you're in a high risk group, you need to be extra cautious because, well, this stuff could kill you. Now, myself, I'm just getting over COVID. My husband's had all the vaccines. I can't have them for medical reasons. I just got too many unknowns, and with cancer, and it's in my lungs and it's in my liver and my pancreas and all kinds of places. We don't know if I could even handle the shots. We don't think we don't, my doctor just doesn't think so. So here I am. And what does that have to do with Monsanto? Probably nothing, and probably everything, because we live in a world where we're feeding our bodies garbage. We're expecting our bodies to not be sick. We expect ourselves not to get these zoonotic viruses such as SARS-2, COVID-2. And that's just dreamy. It's not even realistic. And so here we are at this time with this company at the head of the helm, Bayer, Monsanto, telling us how we are going to move forward. Now they're getting ready to jump in, of all things. This is kind of scary too, on the vaccination bandwagon. They're putting out one that I think it's called a Novartis. And so here we go again, another round of vaccinations that who knows we're probably going to be forced to have in a company that is so large that there's who do you hold accountable? You can't even really find the owners of the companies. You can go back through it all, and it's owned by this company, that company, doing business is this, doing business is that. I mean, it's like so much finger pointing in the opposite direction that makes your head swim. And where I was looking at one company, I think it was Johnson and Johnson owns, and as another little aspect of it, owns 7% supposedly of Monsanto for their voting share as a shareholder. So I don't really know enough about it to be 100% anything, but I know with this chart that they have Neptune, the USA chart, in Pisces by transit, where it's saying, yeah, this isn't sustainable. We can't continue this way. It is dissolving us as people. And maybe that's the point. Maybe that's the goal. I don't know. But with that, I am just going to say that I'd like for you to hit the like, share, and subscribe. I don't grow without it. And I am going to start bringing you kind of the story of my life and the book that I'm writing and why I'm writing this book, how it does, in fact, go back to things like Monsanto and Bayer and how we have been treating people, and also about the possibility that there's more going on behind the scenes with these bigger companies and how they're affecting us physically and the amount of money they're bringing in as a result that really we need to be looking at. And I think that because of these eclipses, that's exactly what we're being asked to do. The stars are saying, look carefully because you've been deceived. And we've all been deceived by these big companies. Don't think because they gave you money for cancer that they're doing you any favors. I won't even bother to take their tests because they're all very toxic and cancer inducing and would shorten my life. And I'm sorry, my life is worth more than a few dollars that would not do me any good anyway, because I don't feel good enough to enjoy it. And so, these are just raw facts that I can't get around. So with that, I thank you very much for joining me. Please do, as I asked, hit the like, share, and subscribe so I can grow. And I look forward to bringing you more videos in the future. Thank you very much for joining me here today.